People of the internet, welcome back to another video. It is I, Don Thomas, back in here with another one. As always, folks, the likes, the comments, the subscribes are all greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for the support on this channel. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into today's topic, folks. I got a video pulled up here. It comes from CNN, entitled "Uproar Breaking Out Inside MAGA World Over H1-B Visas and Foreign Workers." It looks like there's been some discourse on the internet between Trump and Elon Musk and what is his name? Vivek Ramaswamy, I think is his name. And I kind of want to get your thoughts. I've had some thoughts of this. I think I've seen a few colleagues online and people on social media discussing this issue as well too. This actually comes off of another video that I did as well too that kind of spoke on DEI workers and why our companies, why our corporations straying away from the idea of DEI. So I feel like this kind of sort of falls into that network. If I'm not mistaken, it sounds a little bit contradictory, if you ask me, from the little that I know. Of course, I'm not the most versed in this whole situation. Of course, I want to watch this video. So let me just read the caption here below the video. Let me see something here. It says, Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk, the co-chairs of Trump's proposed Department of Government Efficiency, are facing backlash from the MAGA-base and others within the Republican Party after encouraging offering more visas to highly skilled and foreign-born immigrant workers. So on the surface level, of course, it just sounds like we're looking to outsource, as we usually do. I don't think that's anything new here in America. Looking for international talent for these corporations, these companies, as opposed to looking for the talent here in America. Of course, people are going to have their gripes with that. We're already hearing about this mass deportations that Trump wants to do, and you're hearing about your illegal migrants that are coming into town, whatever the case is. So I can see how this news will ruffle some feathers with some people thinking that, hey, man, we have more than qualified Americans here. Why can't they do the jobs? This and that, the other. Let's watch this clip, get a little bit more insight, of course. I'll share my thoughts. I want you guys to share your thoughts down in the comment section below. Let's get into it.
Tonight, as President-elect Donald Trump is preparing for a widespread immigration crackdown when he takes office 25 days from now, we're seeing a crack between some of his top advisors and his MAGA base. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are both facing major blowback from their own supporters for not only backing, but encouraging offering more visas to highly skilled foreign workers. Over the Christmas holiday, Musk posted this online saying, think of this like a pro sports team. If you want your team to win the championship, you need to recruit top talent wherever they may be. He later added, I'm referring to bringing in, via legal immigration, the top 0.1% of engineering talent as being essential for America to keep winning. He's talking about H1-B visas, which allow employers to hire highly skilled foreign workers. Musk, who himself is from South Africa, said that he once had this kind of visa, and he's arguing that Silicon Valley is facing a shortage of excellent engineering talent, as he put it. But the annual cap on those kinds of visas right now is at $65,000, with another $20,000 for those who get a master's or a doctorate in the U.S. Musk is being backed up by his partner in Trump's government efficiency initiative, Vivek Ramaswamy. He says it's a cultural issue that there aren't more competitive engineers in the U.S. Here's what he said online. A culture that celebrates the prom queen over the math Olympiad champ or the jock over the valedictorian will not produce the best engineers. A culture that venerates Corey from Boy Meets World, or Zach and Slater over Screech and Saved by the Bell, or Stefan over Steve Urkel and Family Matters will not produce the best engineers. But that argument is not going over well with Trump's MAGA base, certainly not online. Some of them saying, we did not ask them to engineer an immigration policy. Tech wants indentured servants, not high-skilled workers. You don't even know what MAGA immigration policy is. Now, Trump himself, who I should note restricted H-1B visas in his first term, has said on the campaign trail this time around that he did want to make it easier for educated foreigners to work in the U.S.
What I want to do and what I will do is you graduate from a college, I think you should get automatically as part of your diploma a green card to be able to stay in this country. And that includes junior colleges, too. Anybody graduates from a college, you go in there for 2 years or 4 years. If you graduate or you get a doctorate degree from a college, you should be able to stay in this country.
There you heard it. To be completely honest, like I've been hearing about this story very loosely. I'm not as well versed into the policies and the facts and the data behind it. But from a surface level, right, that's basically what they're talking about. Elon Musk Vivek Ramaswamy, if I'm pronouncing his name right, are under the idea that in order to have the best engineers for some of these companies and just for, building American infrastructure, we need to look externally. We need to look to foreign countries who maybe have honed their skill sets in these specific areas, in these specific niches, I guess you could say, to keep American infrastructure striving. And of course, inevitably, that's going to get some backlash because there's people in America that feel like, well, why look externally, right? We should have just as much talent to bring those people. People are under the impression that, of course, there's Americans who have just as much talent, who have the schools, who have the skill set, who went to the schools and have the skill sets to be able to do the work of these engineers. I think it's important to note that we're not talking about bringing in illegal immigrants. These are people, H1-B visas, of course, are those visas that are specific to people who are coming over here to find work or go to school, whatever the case is, and seek employment, if I'm not mistaken, right? So I think even they said Elon Musk came on here on that temporarily, whatever the case is. So being that Elon Musk was somebody that once held an H1-B visa, I could see how he would champion the idea of wanting to implement this more, especially with Trump being in term. I think it's a little bit contradictory if you ask me, again, off the little that I know, because we know Trump has been very vocal about deporting illegal immigrants. But sometimes I can't help but feel like there's an underlying, tone or connotation with just immigrants altogether, whether they're legal, illegal. I know, people will say, well, America's a mixing pot and American culture, this, that, and the other. Especially that place like New York City and things of that nature, where they are open to the idea of merging cultures for innovation and things of that nature. And then, of course, this reminds me of just like the conversation I had not too long ago, I think some videos back, where I was just talking about why corporations are choosing to do away with DEI workers, right? So, of course, DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, are basically the sector of people that are marginalized, underrepresented, right? So your minority women, minority males, foreigners, whatever the case is. I feel like this kind of is like the cousin of that situation, where it's just like, all right, are we for diversity in the workplace or not? Now, again, educate me. You guys can feel free to respectfully educate me down in the comment section below, because I'm sure there's going to be people out there that are more versed and educated in this subject than I am. But it sounds a bit controversial. Foreign workers, right? From a surface level. Not controversial. It sounds a bit contradictory is the word I'm looking for. I'm sorry. It sounds contradictory in the sense of, are we for foreigners or not in this country, in our culture? I feel like there's one part of America that wants everything American bred. American cars, American culture, American, everything American. But the reality is, foreigners help the world move as well, too. Foreigners are, in some situations are leaving their countries, have mastered the skill sets that they need over their case, and then come to America to look for work, for better living situations, better living conditions, and better opportunities. So at some point, sometimes to me, I'll speak for myself, it feels like, do we welcome foreigners enough in this country? Or is America as a whole, from your standpoint, does America seem like a country that's open to the idea of welcoming legal foreigners into our infrastructure? Sometimes I do feel like there is still racial tension. I do sometimes feel like there is, discrimination in certain areas based off of a person's name, how they look, how they speak, their accents, their education. If it's not from a pristine school here in America, then we kind of maybe downlook the credentials of those people. I feel like sometimes that's the underlying tone that I feel like I see. So it's interesting to hear this now. We're just like, no, specifically on these H1-B visas, let's bring foreign workers into our infrastructure, because you saw Vivek saying there, in American culture, we've always looked Steve Urkel for Stefan, and he was using, American culture as an example to say that we always overlook the nerds. America doesn't champion the idea of nerds and the IT guy and the engineers, whatever the case is. So if we don't breed those type of people here in America, what's the problem with looking externally, in foreign countries to bring those people into our infrastructure? And to be completely honest, folks, I don't see anything wrong with that. Just the same way I ain't see nothing wrong with DEI. I don't see anything wrong with DEI initiatives. I don't see anything wrong with bringing over foreign workers who are just as skilled into these spaces, into engineering and the tech space, or whatever the case is. I don't see anything wrong with it, being of foreign descent myself, right? What's the problem? If we're talking about innovation, we can't put a cap on innovation. We can't all want to innovate and be the best of the best, but not want it to come from a specific, we want to innovate, but not from them. You see what I'm saying? And I'll even go as far as saying as well, too, here in American culture, at least from where I'm sitting, nobody wants to do that. Let me not say nobody, but it seems to me from where I'm sitting, there's a smaller population of people who want to do those type of jobs. Engineers and, again, the nerdy stuff. Here in America, it seems like if you don't play a sport, if you're not an entertainer, if you're not a whatever. Like, yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that there's not at all. I just feel like it's a smaller population of people that even want to pick up trades. That want to be welders and HVAC folks and, carpenters and farmers. Like, those are not the professions that I see Americans rush towards. Whereas you have people in other countries who are headstrong in those things, who eat, sleep, breathe it. What's the problem with those people who are passionate in those fields to come over to America to help the infrastructure? Is what I'm not understanding. Now, in the rebuttal, I think I was even seeing this on Twitter as well, too. People were saying, well, educate us then, right? People, I saw a picture somewhere, if I can find it, I'll pull it up, where they were like, here in America, you'll charge us X amount to go to school and get that degree, and then you'll be stingy with the jobs. And then another thing I think this kind of ties into is just how much it costs. For the salary for an H1-B visa employee versus an American-born, employee, would argue that it's a lot cheaper to bring in foreign workers because they'll work for less, as opposed to the American-born student or, employee who came here, got the education here, and this, that, and the other. I think there's some truth to that maybe from a cost effectiveness, that people are more willing to get external help from other countries because you won't have to pay them as much, especially if the visas are for a fixed time frame, right, for X amount of years and months, worth of cases where we can get them for their resources, pillage them for all their skill sets and resources, and send them back to their countries. Sounds pretty American to me. But I don't know, man. Those are just my thoughts. Again, guys, I'm never going to come off as somebody who's well-versed. I speak on things that I'm passionate about. I think I speak on things that I want to learn more about. I speak on things that, pique my interest. But I'm never going to come off as an expert on any of these things. Of course, these are just my thoughts when I gather the information that I come across. I listen to people that are smarter than me. I listen to people that are more well-versed in certain areas than me. And this is just me throwing my 2 cents in the pot. So of what I make of this whole H1-B visa thing, I personally don't see anything wrong with it. I don't. I do think those people should be properly compensated. I think it'll also help with removing the stigma Americans have with foreigners. Just because somebody doesn't look like us or they have an accent or they, whatever the case is, I feel like American culture, to me, seems like we kind of give those people, we kind of put those people on the back burner. Whereas this might be an initiative to show like, hey man, nah, these people are earning their keep. They're just as valuable, if not more, to the American infrastructure than the Americans here in the country. Now, some people might feel a way about that. Some people might say I'm being biased because I have family of African descent. But I'm just trying to be as unbiased as possible when speaking about the greater picture. What is the greater picture? Do we want America to grow in infrastructure or not? I like Elon's example as well, too. If I'm putting together a team, right, then I want the best of the best. And let's just keep it real. The best of the best won't always come from America, right? I think it'll be foolish to think like, oh, man, let's look for the best only in America. We live in a population of 8, almost 9 billion people. You think the best of the best only live in America? I don't think so. I don't think there's a problem to look externally for help to help our country grow, right? Those are my thoughts. Of course, I want to hear yours down in the comment section below. As always, the likes, the comments, the subscribes are all greatly appreciated. I will catch you on the next one.